And documents have been turned over to the Dane County District Attorney. But as political reporter Jessica Arp tells us, Republicans say nothing is wrong with the process. Jess?
Well, the district attorney is reviewing a verified complaint alleging that Republicans violated state open meetings law while putting redistricting maps together. But today, one of the legislative leaders involved says the process was on the up and up.
Act 43, the state redistricting map, is rotten, and the process by which it was passed is rotten.
Latino advocacy group Voces de la Frontera is now engaging redistricting legislation on two levels, suing over its constitutionality in federal court and now challenging the Republican lawmakers who drafted it.
What they did basically is they took the legislative process from this House, where it belongs, across the street to a private law firm, housed it in that law firm, and in order to gain access, a legislator had to sign a secrecy agreement.
Documents released as part of that federal court case show 58 Republicans in the Assembly and 17 in the Senate signed confidentiality agreements after meeting with law firm Michael Best and Friedrich, who was hired to help draft the new voting maps before they were introduced in July. Voces calls it legislating in secret.
This was an intentional and malicious attempt to subvert the transparency that is required in good governance.
There were limitations on what we wanted legislators to say about the maps, certainly.
But Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald says that was because of concern over pending lawsuits and that there's nothing malicious about the process.
A draft piece of legislation is not something that's made public. And the reason for that is because if you did make it public, it would have a direct effect on ultimately what the public policy would look like. And that's been upheld by the Supreme Court numerous times. So, I consider that part of the drafting process, putting that bill together. And I think not only is it legitimate, I think it's necessary to ultimately get the votes for something as difficult and complex as redistricting.
Included in the court documents was a list of talking points that said in part public comments on this map may be different than what you hear in this room. Ignore the public comments. Today, Fitzgerald said those talking points weren't for him, but for one member of the Assembly. The attorney for Voces said the document was called Talking Points for Robin. Representative Robin Voss today declined comment to us, citing pending legislation. Assembly Speaker Jeff Fitzgerald also declined an interview on this subject.
All right. Thank you, Jessica.